Recently during a coaching meeting with Taylor and our new intern, Derek, we talked a lot about how people approach heavy weights. Maybe a weight they haven't lifted in a while, a new weight they've never touched, or a heavy weight that they hadn't been up to since an injury or something. I've also fielded a ton of questions in my time producing YouTube educational content and coaching in regards to how do I deal with the fear of heavy weights. So today I'd like to dive into that and present you some examples of how you can try to deal with those things. The first strategy I'm going to recommend is simply creating an appropriate progression to getting to these weights using your training. So let's say this big weight that you're kind of worried about is 150 kilos. Now, if you spent the last 4 weeks leading up to that taking 140, 142.5, 145, and 147.5 kilos, by the time you get to that 140 kilos, it's just 2.5 kilos more than last week. Now, all of this is, of course, assuming that you've been able to keep those loads within expected RPEs and inside the context of your training, but given those, by the time you get to 150, it's not going to feel so daunting. This kind of graded exposure approach can help you gradually acclimate to the stress and the pressure of getting under these weights before the time you actually get there, such that it seems like a very small or marginal bit more stressful than something you easily dealt with the week before. The second method I would recommend is basically exposure therapy, wherein you or your coach, whoever's handling your programming, would intentionally expose the lifter to singles at 9 RPE or even 10 RPE in some contexts. This is going to get the athlete more and more accustomed to pushing their limits and normalize the idea of taking challenging weights within their capabilities. A lot of times the anxiety we feel about heavy weights comes from a doubt in our own abilities. If we can get a clearer idea of what we're capable of, a lot of the times that can help alleviate some of that doubt and make us more confident when it comes time to get under the bar. The last option I'm going to propose here is to use some overload tools. Maybe you throw on knee wraps for your squat, or you use a Titan Ram or some similar bench overload device to feel a little bit of heavy weight in your hands, to feel a little bit of heavy weight on your back. You can also use reverse band squats or deadlifts if you have a setup for that. This would be a way of removing some of the weight at the most challenging part of the lift, but still allowing you to feel it at the top end. In some cases, these can be used as a wonderful confidence builder and allow us to, once again, just stop stressing about the heavy stuff. If you're still looking for more information or those suggestions don't help you through dealing with the anxiety of handling heavy weights, what I'm going to do is I'm going to recommend you go check out our video on mental imagery training, wherein we dive into some psychological means by which you can approach preparation for heavy weights, and hopefully that provides a little bit of an additional edge. Hopefully some of these suggestions have been helpful, and if you have other ways by which you've dealt with anxiety as it relates to taking a heavy attempt, go ahead and leave that in the comments below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. See ya.